My name is Bob, and this is Chancey. We're the homeowners here. We moved in June, and it was a spec home, so it was being built by Josh Graham, as a local builder, and he had it just about framed in November when we went under contract. And so we were under contract for about November to June when we moved in. The house was completed and got its certificate of occupancy. And so, while it wasn't a custom home for us, we were able to make some changes, largely to the finishes and some larger pieces to it. So we did LED lighting throughout. That was a pretty easy change to make after, it didn't stress out the builder too much. What else we do?
We changed the insulation. He had that insulation specified for the walls. We changed that to blown-in insulation to get a tighter seal there, and we added insulation to the attic as well. So I think we'll see the payback on those this winter.
Yeah, and he had spec an electric hot water heater, and gas is a lot less expensive, so it's a more economic alternative. And so the payback on that was just almost a year to upgrade that. So that was seemed like a no-brainer. We're really loving the location here. So we're pretty close walk to work and bike ride to the girls' school at Soda Creek, and just go down the library or the river is a pretty nice walk. And obviously the trails up on Emerald are pretty close here too. So that's been nice. We got a secondary unit, so that's more like a community sustainability thing where a working family like us can afford to buy a home, largely because of the extra income from the rental unit. So so what else?
What else did we do? So after the fact, we were able to install insulated shades upstairs for window coverings. So that was one, after market thing that we were able to accomplish. All of the paint is low VOC, and the ceilings and walls. The floors are engineered hardwood, so that's kind of friendly there. Our exterior materials are virtually maintenance-free. We've got stucco and metal siding, so hopefully no maintenance, more playtime for us.
Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the features on the house, including from Control Designer, to talk about that a little bit about the controls?
Yeah, we didn't, we'll let Curtis talk about some of the options that maybe we could have incorporated. We do have dimmers on all of the, not all of the lights, but in all of the rooms we have the option to dim lights. We've been using those quite a bit. All the bathrooms, bedrooms, the living room, the kitchen. We have motion sensors in the garage, so we kind of pop in and out of that space pretty frequently, and the exterior lighting on motion sensor as well. Other than that, we didn't do a lot of automation.
Well, yeah, you could have. The whole thing is, when we were here, I mainly talked to people about, dimming. We talked about dimming and lighting. We talked about thermostats with some other people. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. The problem is with these homes that I've seen is that they don't really find a budget for technology, or they feel that technology is a little too much for a project like this, when really it's more affordable than it's ever been right now. So, things you could do different, monitor temperatures, you could use more motions in order to see whether or not doors or windows are open or people are here. They don't do a lot of motion light for heating, which is another thing that you can also do. So when you're incorporating the systems, when you're tying in certain things, like you saw with lighting and dimming, and then whether you go LED, that's a whole other question. That's why I asked you that question, because a lot of people they'll change the bulb and think they're really gaining something. They really somewhat are, but they're really, in order to get the true flexibility of an LED light, you have to go with an LED fixture. That in itself is requiring a lower load, because if this light's a 120, it's a circuit, it gets that load, it still needs 120 to work. It's the bulb that's actually degrading the power.
Right.
So it's not as energy as efficient as most people think.
As-
Because if you go to the store and go, okay, now I'm going to go all LED bulbs. Yes, your bulb's going to last longer. Yes, your wattage is probably a little bit less, but if you look on the bulb itself, the bulb it'll say it's a 40 watt bulb, right? Giving you the power of a 60 watt bulb, right? But you're still got a 40 watt bulb. You know, there's LED lights out there that are 10 watts.
Right.
That's where you're really getting the energy efficiency of it. And that all comes back to the design of it all. And that's what most people don't catch, because you go to Walmart and all you have is LED bulbs and everybody's like LED. But
Right.
if you're truly getting energy efficient, it's the fixture that makes the difference,
Right.
the big difference. So these are the things that you talk about in this, and lighting plays a big part in it. Because I feel like with these homes, they're great. Your home's wonderful. It's amazing, and it's very energy efficient. And then you're like, you're spraying, and you're keeping the house really tight. And you added the fresh air, which is awesome too, right? So the thing that's missing is, and like I've talked about with multiple people, is you've always got to add the human factor. And the human factor is not allowing for that yet. And that's where the automation would come in fact. You know, your kids go out. If your kids are like my kids, they go out the door and they leave the door open.
Right.
And then there's your tight house just became untight, right? So, or if you're like my kids leave, I constantly am going around turning the lights off. So, you know, that's where the automation comes into play in these homes. And that's why I'd like to see more of it, but it eventually will come.
Yeah.
But I think it's an amazing house. It was funny because one lady came, remember, she came and she said, of all these homes, I didn't see many dimmers.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like I told you,
Yeah.
it's not that easy.
The LED dimmers,
Yes.
yeah.
And the problem is, like I said, the bulb came out before the technology did it.
Right.
So that's...
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. We have noticed that there's the flicker with our lights that are on the dimmer.
Or they don't shut all the way off. So like
Yeah.
you dim your bulb all the
Right,
way
it
down,
won't go.
it doesn't shut off.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, because and all that becomes of the load.
Right.
The load is lower than it used to be.
Yeah, and it's not controlled properly.
Exactly. And how they dim
Yeah.
compared to how it used to dim.
Yeah.
It used to be a wave thing. When they dim, it was a wave. We dropped the wave into it, and that would, incandescent would dim like that, but LED doesn't dim like that because it's such a low threshold. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
if it's a lower watt, then basically when you're dimming that level, that's why you see like you see it dim all the way up or see it dim all the way down. But it never really shuts off. Right.
Hey, Chancey and Bob, maybe we could get you guys to talk a little bit about how you cooperated with the custom builder.
He was great to work with, and he humored all of our requests and gave us pricing to upgrade the insulation, to upgrade the water heating system, to do all these things. He was very upfront with us. So that was pretty easy. I think we were fortunate that we had a knowledge base. Bob's a city planner and helped write the green building code for the county. I'm an architect, so we kind of knew what to look for and where we could maybe get the biggest bang for our buck. So fortunately, we had that in our court. I think moving forward for the average homeowner, having a consultant to come in and walk through the project with you, maybe in the beginning and a few phases throughout, would benefit the average homeowner significantly.
Yeah, doing a walkthrough with the builder. Yeah.